We begin with a small prayer. Om. Ekdantam chaturhastam pashamakūshadharinam ram chavdam hastair vipranam shakadvaram raktam lambodaram shurpakarnakam raktavasasam gandhanuliptangan raktapushpaisu pujitam bhaktanukampinam devam jagatkaranam achyutam avibhutam cha shishtayadav prakrite purushat param एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः ओम नमो रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्ते स्थूलंबोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शुभसुताय श्रीवरदमूर्तये नमो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भान् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमान् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। So many of you have joined today's session because it's open session, and I'm seeing after a long time. We had a beautiful, almost a 6 months journey through the Dipalankar, and today and next Sunday would be the last sessions, and we begin with the new session on 14th of July with a new course and new classes. So this beautiful journey, today's class is called, it's named Inner Illumination, because we are going to talk about how it illumines your inside, how this Vedantic wisdom illumines your inside. And then there are a set of questions that I have shortlisted for today's discussion. The journey of our learning, especially these 6 months, has been through understanding the cosmic principles, the laws of karma, and laws of the inner world and the outer world. Also, the science of the prana, mahaprana, how this science works inside, how the pancha pranas are controlling our system inside, how they're nourishing. Prana is a nourishing force, how it is nourishing the inside system, and how automated all our systems, physiological functions and the mental functions are functioning, how they're working because of this fuel, because of this energy. And we also learned everything about the antakarna and how the man, buddhi, chitta, ahankara are functioning, and organ systems are, at the gross level working. They seem to be just there. However, the inner functions of all the organs is so automated and so beautiful. They work in synchronicity. The whole body is working in a synchronous way, that everything is happening while you, when I say you, I mean the ego personality is busy thinking about outside. You're thinking about how to earn money, how to search for opportunities, how to shop, and how to look good, how to keep your house good. And all the functionality of your ego is projected through the senses outside. Whereas the inside of your body is an automated system where everything is functioning on its own. And the ego is completely unaware. The ego is completely unaware of how things are working. So whenever there is crisis in your life, whenever there is a stumbling block, and you stumble down for some reason or the other, then you question, you take a pause in the outside functioning of the ego, because the ego is so oriented outside that it is so busy, and so busy that it doesn't have time. Many of you say that we don't get so much time to do our sadhana. It is so busy. The ego is so busy thinking. It's almost like on a treadmill all the time, and you're busy with the work, with the planning, with the thinking, etc. And sometimes the ego wants entertainment again and again. It wants a restful entertainment, so you just want to lie down on the couch doing nothing, or want to browse through your internet, or go into the social media and keep seeing reels and Facebook and everything. And so It's in a restful mode, but it is doing all the time. The ego is doing all the time. The inner illumination is talking about, what I want to talk about today is that when you put the light inside of your system, I'm not using specifically the body, but the mind more so. When you put the light, when you switch on the light inside the body, inside the system, inside the whole working system, then you understand that it's a whole new world of understanding yourself. And the purpose of this life, the purpose of your human life, is not to consume energy, is not to get consumed and consume energy all the time, keep pulling energy and consuming it all the time outside, taking it to a zero state of achievement. No achievement is an achievement if it does not go with you, with your soul, if it does not get carried forward with your soul. Also, if it has not added on to your spiritual IQ or to your emotional IQ, if it has not given you or taught you the lessons of life, if it has not made you a better human being, if it has not made you understand, the way a person needs to grow, really grow. Yeah. So whole life is otherwise consumed, and it's Rai. In the beginning of our Dipalankar, we use two words. We learn two words, prana and Rai. Prana and Rai. Rai is consuming the prana. One is a provider, the other is a eater. It's eating all the time. So the purpose of life is to explore yourself, primarily to explore yourself, to explore life as such, to explore creation, and to arrive at what we call God or what we call Paramatma, to arrive at a conclusive evidence of, consciousness being the substratum of everything, including your thought. It being the substratum, it being the provider of the origin of everything, including your thought, your presence on earth, including your identity, including your physical, mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual presence on earth. So to reach this origin, to investigate and to reach this origin, one finds a kind of a liberation. To know consciousness itself is freedom. This was there in our last lesson that we did. To know consciousness itself is freedom, which means when your investigation arrives at the root of this question, then you are almost liberated in your mind. And so the journey of this illumination, begins with understanding our systems. We must inquire into our system. What is sustaining our life? What is our energy system? And all of you are doing it. Already everybody is doing it. You inquire into your chakra system and about the various levels of your chakra health and which areas of body and inside of you and outside of you are these chakras managing, etc. You're investigating into the pranic system. You understand pranayam and you understand about the way of life. However, going deeper into the mind ego trap, the trap of your antakarna is one of the most important essential lessons for your spiritual living. To understand this whole antakarna, that means the mind, intellect, memory, and ego. Man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Chitta is not exactly memory, but chitta is the conscious and the subconscious mind put together. That's why we use a phrase called chit ko shant rakhna chahiye. We use a word that the chitta should be kept very quiet, very serene. There should be unity in our conscious mind and the lower mind, and then the higher mind we are able to trap. To understand this whole functioning of the antakarna, we understand what is dependent on what. They're all dependent on each other. However, what is dependent on what at a particular, in a particular moment. For instance, the mind is a thought-provoking machine. It's a thought-producing, provoking machine. That means that whatever sensual inputs are there, you have your sensual inputs, you have, I'm seeing something, I'm hearing something, I'm smelling something, and I am already thinking something, all of these sensual inputs are constantly being put into the mind. And the mind is constantly producing thoughts. More and more words, more and more dialogues keep coming inside the mind constantly, automatically, because that is the function of the mind. Keep producing thoughts is the function of the mind. All right. Now, these thoughts are put into the intellect for processing. They are processed there. The intellect functions. I'm repeating, some of you are hearing this from me, this dialogue from me, many times you have heard, but I'm repeating it because it needs to go deep into your head, all right? Whatever the mind is producing, whether it is fear, anger, whether it is excitement, exuberance, whatever, and in a given situation, out of the sensual input outside, you're interacting with something, someone, or you're talking to someone, or you're seeing something, etc. All right, the mind is producing these thoughts. These thoughts are put in intellect. The intellect is a discriminating faculty. It's a discriminating faculty where these thoughts are processed, and the intellect is there. The command for action and further thinking is initiated. Command for action and further thinking is initiated. Now, how does the intellect function? The intellect functions at a very grosser level. I'm not talking about people who are divinized and spiritually connected to other, to the cosmic intelligence or to the intelligence of the nature. Everybody is connected, but most of the people are blocked, and they function from the limited intellect in the brain, which is in their system. So these thoughts which are put into the intellect, now the intellect functions with the help of the memory and ego. It takes information from the memory and the ego. That means that whatever decision or it arrives at, whatever conclusion, judgment, opinion it arrives at, this opinion, judgment, this thought of certitude or action that is initiated comes from a very limited data that is stored in your memory, and also the ego, because how threatened the ego feels or how active the ego feels at that moment, the intellect action according to that. I mean, it gives command according to that. And this command is then carried by your organs of action, and the mind further processes based on what intellect is commanding, is giving as command. The mind further thinks into that. So it's a very, very deceptive kind of system unless it is completely divinized. It's a very deceptive system. For instance, what you perceive in a particular moment. Somebody is saying something to you, what you're perceiving at that particular moment is your senses, which are contaminated with memories. This contaminated perception is going into the mind and creating thoughts which are contaminated, because the mind is also corrupt with a lot of impurities. Then this contaminated thoughts are put into the intellect, the limited intellect, which can think limitedly, the limited memory and the ego orientation. So the command and the further thoughts that the intellect is giving you is completely corrupted. So you're right from the perception of perceiving of what you're hearing or seeing to what you're processing into your mind is completely deceptive. It is complete ignorance, which needs to be understood. And that's why you first need to make an understanding that whatever I'm understanding of any given situation, whatever I'm perceiving of any given situation is not complete in itself. It's not the truth. And it's not this what I am perceiving, this what I'm understanding is not the ultimate understanding, is not the absolute understanding. This scope, this space that you create in your own understanding with your own investigation creates a kind of a stillness. It creates a kind of a stillness. It creates a kind of a gap. And in this gap, there is no hurry to take action. There's no hurry, there's no urgency, there's no compulsion, and there will be moderation. Because when you understand that this what I am understanding and perceiving of the situation is not 100% correct, it's not the absolute, then you will moderately respond. You will not go hyper over your responses. You will not be so ego-ridden and so much in certitude about what I am saying is right. That will not happen. That will not happen. You will create a space in which there is very deep understanding. Now, further to this, when you enter into practices, when you enter into regular practices like meditation, japa, you have forgiveness exercises. All of you are doing so many things. Nada. We spoke about many practices in the course. Many of you are into healing practices. You're practicing your Reiki regularly. You're doing your pranic healing regularly, or you're doing your Qigong regularly, any kind of exercises. You're a Tai Chi practitioner, you're a yoga practitioner, whatever energy work you're doing. These practices help you to open up the pathways of receiving cosmic intelligence and receiving intelligence and support from outside of your system, which is completely blocked by the ego equipment. When you enter into regular practices, regular meditative practices, regular spiritual practices, then there is a opening that allows you to think from a very holistic perspective, very holistic, point of view. Your thinking equipment gets aligned with the cosmic light. Your thinking equipment gets aligned with the cosmic light, and you start thinking in a way that creates a lot of space. And when you read in books, you say you should not be judgmental, you shouldn't be opinionated, and you should think in moderation. You read in books, all motivational books are writing about these things nowadays. But how does one do that? It says you shouldn't be judgmental, but you're constantly judging your head. You're constantly judging people in your head. You shouldn't be fear-oriented. You shouldn't be doubtful. All of these good things are written in motivational books. However, do you apply that? You should not be judging, but you can't stop judging. So these good words written here and there, very motivational, they're very positive, and you read them often in the books, on blogs, on internet, everywhere. But you don't know how to apply this wisdom to your life because you're not into any committed practices. You need to get into committed practices, not just into intellectual cramming or spiritual subjects, assuming that you have become spiritual by knowing spiritual concepts. Knowing spiritual concepts is another thing. It has entered into your brain and you understand that this is true. But if you're not applying them in your life by putting them into your spiritual practices, then it remains to the intellectual level. And you, the person, is again full of those imperfections that all of us are, all normal people are. So committed spiritual practices, especially meditation, is on the topmost. Meditation, when you're doing every day, when you meditate every day, at least sitting for 20 minutes to half an hour, you're stilling your body, you're stilling your mind, and you're stilling all your activities. You're freezing all your activities. You're freezing all the activities outside. Eventually, it slows down your system inside. Within 5 minutes of sitting into meditation, everything is slowed down. Everything is slowed down. Your breath also comes into a very loving flow. And in another 15 minutes, you reach into a state of silence and a state of serenity. If you say that, Ma, we're sitting every day, nothing is happening, there need not be anything happening. But if you're able to sit for 20 minutes or half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, just being there, even if thoughts are moving, doesn't matter, but just close your eyes and be there for 30 minutes. Eventually, the body will learn to slow down. The mind will learn to slow down. The breath will learn to slow down. Your commitment, your willpower should be applied to sitting down every day for 20 minutes to half an hour. All right. Meditation being on the topmost list of the practices. Second to that would come your mantra japa and your energy practices. Mantra japa or energy practices. Mantra japa primarily helps you to clear your mind. It helps you to clear your mind, and it helps you to clear the unnecessary, undeveloped, not manifested karma seeds in the causal body. Mantra japa of any kind, especially if you've taken a mantra from your teacher and you're doing it regularly, it helps you to clear the mind. It makes it puts in some drops of purity into your mind, and you're able to sort out and prioritize your spiritual practices. Mantra japa supports meditation. It supports your other spiritual practices, gives you protection, and it gives you a kind of a push through your journey. Otherwise you just want to laze, you just want to stop everything and do nothing, and just want to be intellectually oriented all the time, reading. Mantra japa helps you to build up that energy inside you that propels, your journey, your spiritual journey towards knowing consciousness. Knowing consciousness is the goal. Realizing consciousness is the goal. Being God realized is the goal of spiritual practices. All right. So mantra japa comes on the second level. Meditation and mantra japa, they're complementing each other. Mantra japa can take you into very better states of meditation, etc. They support each other. At the third level comes all the letting go and cleansing practices, what we call healing practices, cleansing, letting go practices, all your healing practices, whether you're practicing your Reiki every day, or you're doing forgiveness, or you're doing letting go practices, you're into creative creative activities that are healing the mind, or you're into sound healing, or you're into dance therapy, or you practice yoga every day for the physical, mental, body balance, etc. All at the third level, all these practices come. The sequence of Ashtanga Yoga is considered to be a very, very healthy approach to realization and samadhi. God realization and samadhi, a very healthy approach of a sequence of Ashtanga. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So the Andar sadhana and Bahya sadhana, outside sadhana, that means the outside approach and way of life, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. These are the four things that bring you into outside cleansing and into outside preparation for the state of samadhi or for the state of God realization. Pratyahar is withdrawal, where you learn how to choose the things that you want to get involved in, and withdraw from things which are unnecessary meetings, unnecessary parties, unnecessary going out and hanging out, and choosing your company right. You don't want to be cleansing your mind all the time in your house, and outside you're going meeting people who are contaminating your mind all the time. So this can be an endless process where you're cleaning the room and dumping garbage in the room again and again. All right. So choosing the right kind of company. Pratyahar also is encouraging you to withdraw from sensual indulgence, because sensual indulgence means unnecessary hearing things, contaminating your mind with news, with information that has got no purpose in your life, etc. Some people, you grow up thinking that you become more smart and more knowledgeable, and if I know everything, cramming yourself with knowledge which is not required for your life. For your field, for your life, for your work, nothing is required. You just want to be a well-informed person. That's how we grow up. We grow up thinking you should have exceptional general knowledge and you should know the know-how of everything in this world. It's nice, but over-information and overworking on that all the time is not required, especially when you begin your journey inward. When you begin your journey inward, then pratyahar means letting go of all unnecessary information. It's not required because it's processing. Information is processing in the brain, and you're keeping your inner equipment, your antakarna, unnecessarily busy. So it's like stressing your computer with unnecessarily files open. You're keeping 10 windows open unnecessarily, and you're loading the RAM as well as the CPU. It's like something like that. So pratyahar is withdrawal from unnecessary stuff. And then dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Dharana means one-pointed focus on what you want to be and what you want to do. One-pointed focus on what you want to be and what you want to do. One-pointed focus on some goal of life, some mission of life, some vision of life. If it's your business, if you're a householder, you have a business and you're a household, one-pointed focus on your life to make it more purer, more better, more serene, more still, more quieter, more happier, more full of joy. That should be the. So dharana per se, theoretically in the meditation path, means that you learn to bring ekagrata of the mind. You learn to train the mind, converge the mind to one-pointed focus on something, or either your Ishta Devata or any point of your, any picture or any vision or any mandala, or inside, fixing your attention point where your attention is not wavering. Dharana means, ekagrata means that pinpointed focus on one something. And then dhyana is concentrating on that point, completely concentrating and giving yourself to this point. These eight limbs of the Ashtanga apply not only to the spiritual path, but also to any worldly path where one would want to be successful, So let's say somebody wants to be a sportsman, or somebody wants to be a musician of a very high order. These eight limbs would apply even to the success of that field. So yam niyam, without rules and regulations in life, that means without proper mental, emotional, physical, food discipline, exercise discipline, yama and niyamas, there are 4 yamas, 4 niyamas. Without these disciplines, your life cannot come on the track. All right. So ahimsa, satya, ashteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yamaha. Five yamas, five niyamas. So without discipline and without these rules and regulations, one cannot become a good sportsman or a good musician or a good anything. So these rules apply even to common people. Then asana and pranayam. Asana and pranayam literally mean the physical discipline that is required. For instance, a musician would require his riyaz, every day. The asana practice, what a yogi does in physical asanas, a musician would do that in his riyaz, or a sportsman would do in his regular 4 a.m. practice, like that. Pranayam would mean some form of breath control. Everybody does that. All people do that who want to excel in any particular field. They do some form of a breath work, because prana itself is the source of all perfection. It can take you into perfection. So yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, then pratyahar. Again, the pratyahar, that means withdrawal. If you want an inner journey, if you want to be spiritually elevating yourself, taking yourself higher, pratyahar is important. If you want to be a sportsman, you can't be indulgent in all kinds of peripheral things. You have to do pratyahar. You want to be a musician, again, kind of withdrawal, it has to be there. There is a very strict diet. There is a very strict they look after their throat very well. They don't take unnecessary things. They don't drink unnecessary things, etc. So pratyahar is a very important. And then dharana, dhyan, samadhi. That means one pointed focus on what you want to do. And then you reach the pivotal point, the apex point of perfection. All right. So the Ashtanga Yoga, these 8 things, we spoke about this when we did our Antar Sadhana, Bhakti Sadhana, when we did Kathopanishad also. We spoke about it when we started our Mundak Upanishad also. So the journey has been very beautiful. The inner illumination has happened very, very slowly, steadily, but surely, and very beautifully. All right. So when one talks about, we were talking about the Antakarna, when one talks about, understanding this whole trap about how the mind is working, how the intellect is working. The most important aspect of your antakarna is the ego and the intellect. The ego and the understanding of the ego and intellect, eventually understanding of the mind, consequently understanding the mind. When the intellect, is limited, then it will fetch data from the limited resources in your head. But when the intellect understands the laws of life and the norms of life, and it expands in its understanding from the gross to the subtle to the super subtle, absolute subtle, and to the consciousness levels. That means your understanding of life has gone from gross, it has gone deeper into subtle and gone deeper into the causal and to the level of consciousness. When the intellect expands so much, then the data that it is tapping into to understand or to process things in there, is from a very, very large database. Is from and from the real database. It's not just the accumulated memory. It's not just accumulated small little things which are there in the head. It's coming from a very deep source of the causal level, which is like very expansive and very, very broad way of thinking. All right. So when these practices begin, when the Jnana Yoga opens the corridors of the intellect to tap into the higher principles of life and the higher know-how of life, then what happens is your intellect gets divinized. With a divinized intellect, the entire process of your mind and ego changes. With the divinized intellect, the entire process of your mind and ego changes. That means the way the mind now processes is going to be different. The way the ego is going to respond to all the situations is going to be different. There is a heightened awareness that develops. There is a deep level of awareness that develops. The deep level of awareness is nothing but, somebody asked in the chat, the Devika was asking in the chat that day, that the me in me that watches the me all the time, which is this me? Who is this me? The me in me that watches the me all the time. That means there's awareness that is watching how I'm walking, how I'm talking to you right now. There's a me that is watching. Who is this me? Is this conditioned consciousness or is it unconditioned consciousness? It is Brahman itself. It is consciousness itself. As you develop more and more awareness, you are segregating a part of your energy system and taking it closer and closer, stationing it into consciousness. Ultimately, it is consciousness watching you. It is ultimately the consciousness of the Brahman watching you function, watching you, that means the ego, function in the world. And the more this awareness develops, the more the real I will develop, and the smaller I will function in the overseeing of the bigger I, real I. All right, so this was what we discussed through the Mundaka Upanishad. The entire Mundaka Upanishad was a very beautiful awakening of the identification of the Brahman inside, and identifying the real I, and watching the false I function. The false I will function. It will eventually disappear and dissolve into the real I, but through the stages of development, it functions. And so there is a witnessing consciousness. If there is witnessing happening, then more and more the real I grows, and you observe how you are functioning into the world. You will observe how you are functioning into the world. There is a constant watch. So with the divinized intellect, awareness is born. I hope understanding that I'm giving the whole system of how spiritual development illumines your inside. All right. So with the divinized intellect, awareness is born. And this awareness, there is a change in the way your mind and your ego functions. Now your mind and ego is watched by the real I. You are watching what is happening in your mind. I'm getting angry, I'm getting insecure, I'm getting worried, I'm getting confused, I'm getting, so the real I is watching the mind. And because it is watching the mind, there is an energy that plays into the mind. Wherever this I will watch, there will be a flow of energy there. There'll be a flow of prana there that will take care. And that kind of, there is a kind of a divine intervention in everything that happens. Consciousness, Brahman is the divine. It is Paramatma. So when the real I is watching your confused mind, or your worried mind, or your, anxious mind, it is almost Brahman, it is Brahman watching. That means there's a flow of energy that will go there, and the presence of the mind will be there in every aspect of your decisions and actions. All right. So with the divinized intellect, awareness is born. With awareness, the mind and the ego functions in a different level. And the unconscious mind, that means the lower mind, which is a bundle of memories, traumas, memories, and carry forward of patterns, what we say, a lot of patterns, vasanas, a bundle of all the unconscious stuff that keeps surfacing again and again. Your fears come from the unconscious, your preconceived notions about what you're looking at things. These all come from the unconscious. Slowly and steadily, with the divinized intellect and the awareness growing higher and higher, the independent function of the real I starts happening, and tapping into the unconscious becomes almost zero. You will not tap into the unconscious unnecessarily. In a system which is having limited, in a trap, in the whole antakarna trap, when there is no divinizing of the intellect, or when there is no witnessing consciousness yet born, then this whole trap is completely dependent on the old data and the unconscious mind. You're playing the same pattern, the same thoughts all the time. It's like that. So the escape to this trap is to start exposing yourself to practices A, B, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. All the three levels of your paths should be, you should have a combination of all the three paths. With Jnana Yoga, there is illumination of the brain, there's illumination of the intellect, and there is a deep knowing that opens up. You understand more and more life, more and more in a better way. With Bhakti Yoga, surrender is born. That means a little bit of bhakti, that if you teach yourself how to surrender, to the divine, how to surrender to the divine, how to surrender to Paramatma, how to surrender to your Ishta Devata, how to surrender to the forces of nature, how to surrender to your own destiny, and take action with this surrendered mode. Take action with the divinized intellect, then you take right action. All right. And Karma Yoga, where you're not building any new karmic pattern. Karma Yoga helps you to dissolve old karmic patterns and abstain from creating new karmic patterns. Karma Yoga is when you're doing everything dedicated to God. When you're doing everything wholeheartedly, full of energy, full of enthusiasm and exuberance, and detaching yourself completely from the results of your action. That means no expectations. No expectation, zero expectation. Karma yoga is when the expectations are zero, and whatever is given to you, you take as prasad for whatever you're doing. Even in your day-to-day life, if you're doing karma yoga, that means you can practice karma yoga. You don't have to go specially somewhere to a camp to do karma yoga. Your household itself is a karma yoga field where you can do all your work without expecting anything. As people are saying thank you, people are acknowledging, they're reciprocating, they are giving you appreciation. Or karma yoga means you just let go of any expectation and do your work with all enthusiasm, all dedication. It's a very difficult thing. It's not so easy because every moment there are expectations. You expect you've done something really nice. You want your father to appreciate you. You want your mother to appreciate you. You want everybody to appreciate you. You know, when people have, there are difficult times in our life when appreciation is required. It's not that appreciation is futile and one, you know, it's unnecessarily piled over us. It's not like that. Whenever we go through lower times, then appreciation helps you. It's like it's like medication where, you know, you can build up your morale again. However, to be aware of it, that I don't not be expecting appreciation all the time is a very important thing. It's a very important thing to teach yourself not to be expecting appreciation, validation from people all the time. Very important lesson. Karma yoga helps you. Bhakti yoga, karma yoga together is beautiful. Jnana yoga is absolutely, it's absolutely important. Jnana yoga is absolutely important for people who are not very educated or they are not interested in Jnana Yoga to study what is, to study about what is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is a study of the self or to study of the consciousness or to study the principles of life in effect, to go deeper into the study of prana, to understand more about the Antakarna. This is Jnana Yoga. Study of Vedanta is Jnana Yoga. So for people not very wanting to, you know, do the seven of Jnana Yoga, they may be happy with the Bhakti Yoga. They may be very happy doing the worship of their Devi or their Ishta Devta, or, you know, or they may be very happy with just the meditation. Meditation, Dhyana Yoga is a part of Jnana Yoga, however. Dhyana, you know, to sit in Dhyana is a part of Jnana Yoga because it is knowledge, which light is knowledge, you know, Prakash is knowledge. So, however, if someone doesn't want to particularly read Vedanta or read the theories of, you know, life, then bhakti, to be completely involved in bhakti, to completely surrendered and to be completely in love with God, with whatever Ishtadevta you're, that gives Jnana Yoga naturally. Light is thrown on the brain and you understand, you know, if, for instance, you had big bhaktas like Kabir Das ji, Surdas ji, they were not educated people. They were not sitting and reading the pothis and the scriptures, but they were jnanis. Their jnana was born in their sheer dedication and surrender to the Lord. You know, jnana yoga is born to someone who is completely soaked in bhakti. Similarly, bhakti is born to someone who is completely soaked in jnana. If you really do the seven of jnana yoga, that means if you really do your Shravan Manan Nidhyasan of the sutras that you have read in your Upanishads, or if you really contemplate and churn and masticate, you know, deeply the words of wisdom that are written by the Rishi, bhakti is born. Bhakti is love for God. Bhakti is basically love for God. Love for God is born in the heart. You know, so bhakti is born to Jnana Yoga if it is truly pursued in the right way. And Jnana is born to Bhakti Yoga if it is really pursued in a surrendered way. All right. And both these faculties then take you to Karma Yoga because then you will expect nothing out of the world. Karma Yoga because you'll do everything for God then. A Jnana Yogi believes that everything is an illusion and I'm a part of this illusion. And Paramatma is all these, you know, so he's already in a Karma Yoga mode where he is just dedicating everything, writing off everything, doing hard work and writing off everything. A Bhakti Yogi will do everything for the sake of God, you know, so they naturally become Karma Yogis. These people, both these who are sincerely in Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, will automatically become Karma Yogis. All right. So these three aspects are then followed externally. So in the inner illumination, one of the most important aspects is to understand your Antakarna and to be in regular spiritual practices. That is why we encourage, people like us encourage you to continue your study. You know, when somebody studies, let's say somebody studying, doing the 6 months course with me, it's not that everything that I have said has gone into your head or now you have completely, you're well versed all this. It's not required. Even if 10% of what has been learned in these 6 months goes into your head, it is made a permanent change in your approach to life. Permanent change in your approach to life. It's worth an entire lifetime. These moments are worth an entire lifetime. So continuing your study is a very important thing. An abstract study, I discourage. I have been teaching so many abstract subjects, remedial and this healing, that healing, more than 50, 60 healing subjects I've taught in my journey, on my own spiritual journey. The utility of my teaching abilities, I've always utilized my teaching abilities to teach so many healing subjects. But I now feel that, that it is going around the bush. It is just going around the bush and not coming to the core. To take lessons of Vedanta is something very, very beautiful, something very, very at the core. You bring yourself, your understanding to the pinpoint center. Right? So similarly, when you take any kind of para or apara vidya, your attention should remain on the para. That means your attention should remain on Brahman. Whether you're learning any healing modality or this or that or this or that, attention should not move from the divine, from your true substratum. The divine is the substratum of your whole system. All right. So the 6-month study, you must continue just to remain in touch, just to remain in touch, just to remain in that energy field, just remain and be ready to absorb as much as you can. The least that will happen is at least 10% will go into your head. But if not that, much more can, it can transform your head completely. All right. So we're going to take up now some of the questions which were there that Tanmay had given some questions. They're very worthy questions. We'll try to take up 2, 3 of them. Somebody has written something here. Yeah. So one of the first questions was sleepwalking through life, how to wake up and stay awake. His first question was sleepwalking through life. We know life is an illusion, and we know that it's a dream casted by the divine. We are a part of his dream. He's casting a dream, and there is a flux, and we are a part of that flux. But to me, as an individual in this dream, life is a reality. To me, as an individual in this dream, life is a reality. My every story, every bit of the story of my life, all the physical movements, all the physical touch, if I get hurt somewhere, everything is real. You're experiencing it as a reality. So how does one stay awake? Stay awake means that you have your focus completely on the substratum. You have your focus completely on the substratum. You understand life as an illusion. You understand that all these stories are of no importance. All your story, which you give so much importance. You give so much of importance to your story. I was born to this one and that one, and I went through this and I went through that. I went through so many challenges. The person that I am and the person that I have become and the person that I want to become. It's all gratification of the ego. The whole processing of the mind and in the intellect is completely on the ego. The ego, it's processing the ego all the time. It is the I, which is a false I, is being processed all the time, and too much of importance is given by us helplessly. It's not a blame on you or me. It's the way the equipment has been set. Maya has set such an equipment inside us that we are engrossed in the I maintenance all our life. I maintenance, that means we are nurturing the ego all the time. We're protecting the ego. We're defending the ego. We're nurturing the ego. We're making it big all the time. We're making it happy all the time. We're pampering it. The I is the focus of your life. The I is the focus of your life. And so how does one remain awake is this question. How does one remain awake and stay awake? How to wake up and stay awake? Waking up, I told you, Jnana Yoga is the way out. Once your intellect shines the light, it shines in the light, then you're awakened. All right. And awakening is done by nature. Do you think that you initiated the process of awakening in your life? Tanmay, or anyone, all of you present here, do you think you initiated the process? This false I has initiated the process? No, it just happened. It just happened. You honestly ask yourself, you'll say it just happened. For some people, it could be some kind of a triggering, some kind of a pain that forced them, that made them look into the holistic approach to deal with this pain. You went to some healers with some problems you had. You had some therapy sessions, and you For many of you, you just accidentally landed into a Reiki seminar or a meditation workshop. Something was happening somewhere and you just sat down there. And for some of you as a child, you could be just, going with your mother somewhere and you were exposed to the spiritual. So this awakening process happens, and it's done by nature. It's done by nature on your journey of life, soul's journey of many lifetimes. There comes a time when you awaken. There comes a time when you awaken. You see, the soul was in a slumber. The soul was in a slumber for many, 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 many lifetimes. Thousands of years it was in a slumber, from the stone life to tree life to animal life to human life. It was in a slumber. It was sleeping. It had forgotten that it is a part of Brahman, and it is Brahman. All right. So there comes a time when nature, sheds all these illusory things apart, and it triggers a kind of a quest in you. A quest is born. When the quest is born, the process of awakening starts. And the quest can be born for any reason. It can be born for any reason. Some people could just be philosophically thinking from childhood. Why is this thing? Why doesn't it go in the reverse order? Why does the sun come out at this time? Why doesn't it come out a little later or a little earlier? Who brings the rain down? Why the clouds? How do the clouds get loaded? What is the process of evaporation? How is that happening? Why doesn't the ocean spill out of the whole, the container in which it is contained? Why doesn't it just spill out? Why don't we get flooded with the water? The ocean is like how much? The land is very little, ocean is a major part of the earth. So when these questions are born, the quest is born. The quest is born to inquire into life and into the, vast field of experiences outside. And then the attention goes inside into our body, inside into our story, inside into why this. So this awakening process is triggered by the nature. It's not triggered by us, it's triggered by nature, by the soul itself, because now it wants to remind itself of who it is. And it utilizes your ego to do the study, because the ego orientation has been there for many lifetimes. The soul was in a slumber, and the ego is to believe that it is real. So now it utilizes the ego to do all the questioning and come into its core understanding of who the self is. And how to remain awake, the second part of your question, how to remain awake. Yes, every now and then, for instance, I know everything about what is Brahman, this. You all know about what is Brahman and all of it. When we are encountering people, then we go into ego orientation again. Somebody comes and challenges something in front of me, then we go into. That's why what you should do to remain awake is to unnecessary confrontation, unnecessary loose confrontation in the world should be avoided. Pratyahar should become very, very strong and watchful. The key to remaining awake is pratyahar should be observed strong and good. Means that unnecessary involvement with people should be avoided. Now, for someone who I met the other day, I met someone who's a lawyer. He's a lawyer and he's practicing law. He's doing good, and he has a spiritual quest. And I was discussing with him, and he says that I'm in the middle of madness bazaar from morning till evening. I'm discussing cases and crime and this and that and this and that. I said, your journey this is the journey. This is script that your soul has chosen, you have chosen. And at some point, you will decide to go into moderation. At some point, you will take on the pratyahar very strongly. Until then, the quest will go on. You'll keep reading. He reads a lot. He keeps reading and understanding, the ardent follower of Bhagavad Gita, etc. Application of your wisdom and the pratyahar and the decision to be awake all the time, will come with time. The lifetime is not the only area in which the soul is God's agenda. Lifetime is a very small something for the soul. Our lifetime is like a blink of an eye, they say. It's like like how we sleep at night and we wake up in the morning. The soul sleeps at night. That means it goes into death and wakes up in the morning to another life. So for the soul, it's not functioning in the dimension of time. Our ego is functioning in the dimension of time, and we think we have spent so many years on earth, and we have spent so many. This expansive understanding of time is in our head. It's not there in the dimension where the soul is. So for the soul, the awakening process, or to remain awake, is something eventually it will come into. If not in this lifetime, another lifetime. But for you and me right now, in this dimension that we are working, to remain awake, the best way is to withdraw as much as you can and to keep the interactions very limited, to keep your dialogue very limited. The more you become aware of not oscillating, if your mind learns not to oscillate too much, and you are available in that moment, you will talk little, speak little, and speak only what you want to. The oscillation of the mind, the more it stills, and in that stillness, believe you me, yesterday I was telling Mamta about this. In that stillness, words of wisdom come out, and you'll speak strong and sure. The impact of this certitude and the impact of this non-oscillating beingness in that moment is felt by the person. He feels the intensity of these few words that you're speaking, but with certitude. All right. So staying awake is a matter of making choices, and very consciously remaining awake in moments where interaction can take your ego into the forefront. Let the ego go back, and you be as a unflinching state of awareness in every conversation. Okay. So then he said, how can one use Vedantic wisdom to instill a greater sense of discipline in life? Because we are all the time procrastinating. There are many things that can make you good and better. There are many things that that can really make a difference in your life, but then there is procrastination. There's no discipline. Many of you fail to instill discipline into your life. So this is again a part of your prakriti. We have a prakriti. We have the sattva, rajas, and tamas ruling in us. Some people have predominantly predominance of tamas. The body, the gross body is sattva, rajas, tamas. Combination of this, the subtle body, sattva, rajas, tamas. Causal body, sattva, rajas, tamas. Every ayona has predominance of some. Many people have in the body a lot of tamas, and because of that, there is laziness, there's procrastination, there's heaviness in the body not to walk. It happens with me also. Let it be, I'll do it tomorrow. While you are supposed to do your asanas today, yoga asanas today, so aaj nahi karenge, kal karenge, from tomorrow, all the time. So procrastination and physical laziness is on account of gross accumulation of tamas, predominance of tamas. And therefore, it's very important to observe. Body tamas can be removed with diet. Body tamas can be removed with diet and sakam sadhana. Sakam sadhana means you do one mala of japa every day to remove the tamas, so the divine is intervening and helping you to push yourself into greater levels of energy and greater levels of commitment physically. Diet, to remove all the tamasic things from the diet, at least for some period, like taking sankalpa for the next let's say 20 days, or for the next 10 days, or for the next 1 month, not going to eat all the heavy things. Tamasic food is what? Tamasic food, there's a separate video that I have given about food, spiritual diet for spiritual growth. There's on our channel. You can see that, so tamasic food is all things that make your body heavy. Non-vegetarian, of course, is tamasic, but there are other, even in vegetarians, that you have potatoes are there, spices are there, a lot of things that build up the muscle body. You leave these things and you go on a sattvic diet for some time, to make your body lighter and to make your sankalp shakti. Sattvic diet helps you to make your sankalp shakti stronger. That means inner discipline, inner willpower to do things. Sattvic diet helps you to make your inner discipline and inner awareness bigger, larger, stronger. All right. So at least for a few days, let's say for the next 1 week, I'm going to put myself on a sattvic diet, do more of meditation and pranayam, and do one mala every day to bring discipline and take away procrastination from my body. You need to apply your will to do this. All right. So, and of course, the awareness, that constant awareness in your head, it should be pricking you that I'm not disciplined. It should prick you. It should prompt you from inside that I need to bring in more discipline into my life. That knowing itself will provoke. Yeah. There is a question here. Shaktika. I want to know how to identify Ishta Devta in our life, as at different point of time in our life, we feel connected to different God's energies. So how to figure it out? Last week, I went to a temple and Pujari asked me who your Ishta Devta, and spontaneously I replied Ganesha. But is there a concrete way to figure it out? Yes, there is, Shaktika. You see, in astrology, you're attending the Jyotish Vidya, which is starting now in July. So Ishtadevta identification will be there. We take the position of the Karaka and identify with the horoscope the Ishtadevta. However, Ishtadevta can go with the family lineage also. It can go with the family lineage. Whatever devatas are being worshipped in your family, if you get drawn to that, then you can do that. Any other devta that you get drawn to can become your Ishtadevta. So the criteria is through the mind more. I would say it is through the mind more. And if you see, then in your horoscope, it will, if you've chosen something with your mind and with the kind of drawing you have towards a particular devta, you'll see in the horoscope it will tally. It normally tallies. So when you choose your Ishtadevta with whom you like and what you feel more drawn to, or what's just coming in your life on account of your guru's tradition or someone that has, initiated you to a mantra, it has just come to you. You should follow that. Understanding very well that Devi Devtas, listen to this carefully, all of you. All the Devi Devtas come in the conditioned consciousness. They come in the field of when you studied that diagram with me about life, about consciousness and life, and you saw that this whole life is an illusion, and we are in a warp and weft kind of an energy field where Shiva and Shakti, consciousness and energy, is weaving kind of conditioned consciousness and pure consciousness is weaving a tapestry of life, and this whole creation is coming. This tapestry of life, at the highest level, there are Devi Devtas. And Devi Devtas, therefore, are a creation of our conditioned consciousness. They are a creation of our conditioned mind. It's a creation of the cosmic mind. So beyond Devi Devtas, there is a field of Paramatma. There is a field of Paramatma, Nirgun and Nirakar, Paramatma, Prakash, Keval Prakash. So Devi Devtas are a pathway and a doorway, rather. Doorway is a more apt word. They open the door into Paramatma. They dissolve the akrutis of your Ishtadevta. The akruti of your Ishtadevta dissolves in Paramatma. So the goal is Paramatma. The goal is not Ishtadevta. It becomes a via media. Ishtadevta becomes the Paramatma for you when you're doing your puja upasana. For instance, follow the Mahaganpati tradition. Mahaganpati is the representative of consciousness. So the akruti of Mahaganpati dissolves in light, ultimately dissolves in light. The process of Ishtadevta upasana is very good because it's a very proved kind of a method. Direct focus and concentration on Paramatma or the light is also possible, but that is possible only when the mind is purified and people have over many lives crossed over many veils, to have reached this place where they can focus only on the light and can dissolve in the light. Ishtadevta helps you with we consider ourselves to be in humility, when we admit that there is a lot that I have to progress and this Devta will help me, then you surrender to the Devata. And as your bhakti goes more and more, and consciously you go hold his hand and go more and more, your ego dissolves in the Ishtadevta, and Ishtadevta dissolves in Paramatma. So he becomes the bridge. He bridges the gap between you and Paramatma, between you and the light, which is pure Paramatma. All right. So Ishtadevta Upasana is recommended.
Thank you, Ma.
Yes, any other question? So his third question is, how can Vedantic wisdom be used to plant the seed of desire that propel them to explore the limitless possibilities of life and make good use of the time we have here on this lifetime? So his question is vis-a-vis, we all understand that worldly desires give you temporary happiness, and they can give you pleasure. They can satisfy your senses, but they do not give you deep satisfaction, and they cannot give you eternal bliss and eternal joy. Eternal bliss, eternal joy can come only when you're when you're doing something which is really divine and can satisfy your soul and can, fulfill your life purpose. So his question is, how can one, assuming that you all are on the path and you all are understanding life as an illusion and the futility of pursuing any material goals or worldly goals, assuming that you're at that state, how does one plant a desire to fulfill the life purpose and to propel, a beautiful living here on the earth? When you understand life is an illusion, when you understand the futility of achieving all the goals out there, then life, you can come in a state of emptiness where there is no desire, or where there is no motivation, or where you come in an empty space, in an empty mind space, where you find everything redundant. It's not a kind of a negative state of mind, but a blank state of mind where there is no motivation now to do anything. So in such a state, how does one plant a desire to have a purposeful living for a higher cause? That's why, people who get on the spiritual path, that's why people who get on spiritual path, they dedicate themselves to missions and to organizations that are set up higher agendas to make this world a better place. You have so many of these missions. You have Chinmaya mission, you have Ramakrishna mission, you have Aurobindo Ashram, and so many of these very big organizations that are very higher, that were set up by masters. They were initiated, and the whole system was set up by masters who saw a vision. For instance, Vedantic education spreading is the thing of Vedantic education, setting up gurukuls or setting up learning teaching centers, etc. One can join such a mission and become a part of the mission and give his own ahuti into the mission. That my purpose is to join the agenda of this mission, and I give my life completely to this mission. When there are no personal material goals, and if the ego is ready to dissolve into a bigger organization, that can become a very, very beautiful way of life. So many of the intelligent people I know, they're IIT graduates, and higher than that, you see them have joined missions, and they work, and they have become teachers, and they are not working for their personal goals. They don't have personal agendas. They are not working to gain popularity for themselves. They are not getting money for themselves. They're just working for the missions. And they're not bothered about, probably, they're not bothered about what's happening to the mission. They are bothered about, they are having a selfless service orientation, and desire to do something for the world is manifesting in this way. So they walk that path. Individually, to survive individually is a difficult thing, because then you have to nurture the individual ego. You have to nurture the individual ego, and that itself becomes a barrier on the path. At some point, Bhakti Yoga is a very beautiful path, because here again you learn to dissolve your everyday actions into the Lord. So to this desire, you have to have a very higher vision of life. Your question pinpointedly is that how do you plant the seed of desire that propels them to explore the limitless possibilities of life? You have to put your personal agenda aside. Personal agenda of the ego has to be put aside. The agenda of the ego has to be put aside. Where the ego feels threatened to dissolve somewhere. The ego always feels threatened to dissolve somewhere, because you don't find the right kind of a place to dissolve. Most of the people that I know, they don't find the right place where they can dissolve their ego. So on the Bhakti Marga, it can happen. It can happen on the Bhakti Marga. It can happen on a Karma Marga. There are many people who start NGOs, Baba Amte, and so many very nice people that have done huge, lot of work for the society. The NGOs that they form with the integral intention of, serving the society. So whether it is an academic side where you would want to teach, or it could be a social cause that you would want to work, your ego has to get dissolved in that agenda. Only then the completion can happen. How do you instill this desire? It has to be understood that the body equipment has to be put to use. The logical understanding that the body equipment has to be put to use. Even if you don't have family commitments or any social commitments or any office obligations, to sit in the emptiness for long can become very, very dangerous, because the karma indriyas and the jnana indriyas are not being put to use. The indriyas of the body, the organs of action, organs of the senses, everything has to be put to use. If it is sitting in Velapanti means without any agenda, then it becomes dangerous, because then it goes into dark corridors. It can go into absolute lethargy, procrastination, and absolute tamas. It can fall into tamas. So in the category of sattva, rajas, and tamas, when you are in a sattvic state of mind, you have to bring yourself to rajas to make some productive use of your presence on earth. And that's why people find it safe to join missions. Now they don't have to worry about their sustenance. That's why people attach to missions, because now they don't have to worry about their sustenance. Their ego is dedicated to the Gurudev that they have dedicated to, and their whole utility of the equipment, of the body equipment and mind equipment, is going into the service and seva of the mission. That becomes a very safe path, becomes a very good path. It's a good path, However, the pros and cons of all of these things will be, they always be, early living will always have some of the other negative points attached. The plus and minuses go together. So there are disadvantages of that kind of life, and there are advantages. The more advantages, you can see more advantages of that kind of life. If you follow the way, the path of whatever is the mission has set the path for all the chatras who are there, then there is no question of derailment. But if your personal agendas and personal egos come in the middle, then there is again derailment there also. And survival or by its, and finding a desire seed and planting that desire seed by yourself inside is a great thing to do. And one can do it if you pray, and if you simply wish that I want to propel my life into a very beautiful direction where I can be of utility to the world. It will happen. Paramatma does it. It will happen surely. Okay. So there's something else written here. Okay. Is doing different kind of sadhanas like Gayatri sadhana, Ganesh sadhana, Shri Vidya sadhana, etc. on different occasions is correct, or shall we commit to one only? Chandrasekhar ji, करना चाहिए, मन में आता है. Suppose you feel, that I want to do Gayatri sadhana, so you should do it, understanding that all the Devi Devtas are coming in the conditioned consciousness, and this goes to one Paramatma. All your sadhana goes to one Paramatma. It is not going to different channels, and you're not wasting or leaking your energy. अगर मन में आता है, श्रद्धा आती है. See, what is the intention of doing the sadhana? It should not be fulfillment of some kind of a worldly goal. It should be that मेरे में श्रद्धा आ रही है, मेरे में इच्छा आ रही है. I want to do Gayatri sadhana and experience her energy. Or I want to do Shiva Upasana and experience. You can do it. And God will then set your timetable by himself, For instance, a few years you do Gayatri sadhana. I have done that on my path. A few years I did Gayatri sadhana. I was in Krishna Bhakti for a long time. Then I came into Ganesh Upasana, and I feel stationed and stable here with my Upasana now. So it does not matter. If it's coming from your heart, do it. Experience it. The energy is going to Paramatma only, know where it is going. It's not getting lost. It's not a waste of time. Ramakrishna Paramhans experienced even other religions. He even explored other religions. He was in Islam for some time, in Christianity for some time. He explored. He's one of the biggest bhaktas as an example for us. So if your heart calls for some Devi Devta and you want to do Anushthan for that, then do it. Not a problem. Okay. All right. Then, yes, any other question? Tell me. So nice to see you. Vallavi, so good to see you. Good morning. So we are starting with the, yes. Yes, who is this? So we're starting with the Para Jyotish Vidya on 14th of July. This is a beautiful astrology workshop, Vedic astrology learning for 6 months. 6 months, every Sunday we will meet in the morning 7 to 9 and study about the planets and study about your horoscope. The intention of setting up this workshop is more for your self-analysis than for predictions. I am not I have not designed the course to make it of more predictive value. I'm not interested in making you do predictions for others as much as analysis of self and others, self and understanding planets very deeply and doing upasanas for the planets. We take it to the godly level, take it to the para level, through the apara vidya, we across the bridge and going to the para vidya. That means understanding the godly nature of all these matrices that are cast by the planets and understanding the horoscope through a very holistic doctor's view, to understand what is doing to your personality and how these defects, these credits have come into your horoscope, understanding the karmic patterns, understanding the causal body too much in detail, much in detail. We'll speak about a lot of divisional, astrology as such as a subject will be taught thoroughly in the 6 months. You will learn everything about the divisional charts, all kinds of astrology also, and then going into remedial astrology, what kind of remedies people suggest, what impact do these remedies have, do they really work or they don't work, and if they are creating any solace, what kind of solace do they create, etc. Of course, about gems and the navratnas, and a little bit about the crystals. So it's a very, very beautiful, colorful 6 months journey. Taken a little break from the Vedanta study. After this, I would want to start either Vivek Chudamani or Brahma Sutras. After we finish with the para Jyotish Vidya, we'll do either Brahma Sutras or we'll do Vivek Chudamani. Some of the scriptures, we'll take up some of the scriptures later. So take a break from the study of consciousness. Let's come into the, into the worldly understanding of planets. So I really hope that most of you have already migrated from Deepalankar. Everybody has come into para Vidya, minus a few of them who probably have some other practical reasons. But those of you who are attending today this class and are not there in the Deepalankar group, then you could consider, please message me. I will send you details for this. All right. Yeah, Tanmay, thank you. Rashi is asking, do we need any basic knowledge for this astrology? This is my first session with. Not at all, Rashi. Everything right from ASTROLEY, everything will be taught. So you don't need to have any knowledge. And those who have studied astrology with me, some of you have done some workshops with me in astrology. They will have to go through all the details again, because sometimes they would want to teach astrology to people. Then I want them to understand everything from ABCD of astrology. So the classes are going to be from ABCD. Okay. Yes, that's lovely. This is Abhishek. So nice to have you here. Beautiful. So we'll do a small meditation, and there were some other questions that are there. I will take up after the meditation. Ek chota meditation kar lete hain. I want you to just a 5 to 10 minutes meditation to kind of open open up your system to receive the light. There's normally a lot of healing that is sent in these meditations that we do after every class. A lot of healing and a lot of beautiful protective opening is given, energy is given to you. So station yourself still, eyes closed, feet on the ground if you're sitting in a chair. Take your attention inward. Take your attention inward to your heart. Take your attention inside your heart. Focus on your breath as you breathe in, as you breathe out. You can stop your breath after an exhalation for a moment, just for a moment, to take your attention to your heart. The sensitivity of the heart where you feel. I want you to take your attention there. Let your awareness travel deep into your heart as if you're a small, tiny person. Look at your awareness as if you're a small, tiny person walking deep into the corridors of your heart. Through the dark channels of your heart, you look at yourself arriving into a beautiful lighted space. a beautiful circular lighted space, and you look at yourself standing out there, a small, tiny person. Walk into this lighted space and find yourself in the middle of this beautiful circular lighted space. Sit down there like a yogi. Sit down there like a Shiva, like a yogi. Look at yourself sitting down there in this beautiful circular lighted space, like a yogi, like a Shiva. There is a beautiful smile on your face. There's so much of light surrounding you. There's also a beautiful thick pillar of white light falling on your head from above. And you're sitting here in the center of your hriday, the beautiful lighted space where there's pure consciousness. Your awareness is stationed there, sitting there. You're sitting there like a yogi, like a Shiva, surrounded by the light and nourished by this beautiful pillar of white light falling on your head. As you breathe in, as you breathe out, hold this vision, hold this beautiful vision of you sitting in this light. We have deep gratitude this moment in our heart for this beautiful 6 months day of opening ourselves to deeper understanding and deeper knowing of ourselves. Deep gratitude for these present moments which are loaded with the light and loaded with the blessings of Paramatma. Breathe in, breathe out, and just fill yourself up with this vision of this beautiful lighted space and the pillar of white light falling on your head. Be aware that you are smiling, still, quiet, steady. Let your eyes be focused here. Let your eyeballs not move. Let your body be in complete surrender as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Let your breath slow down and become deep. Eyes are just fixed to a point. Mind is completely surrendered. Body is completely surrendered. Still. And so much of serenity, so much of peace when you don't move your eyeballs and you just let them be fixed to a point. Your eyes are closed and your eyeballs are not moving. They're fixed to a point. So much of serenity, so much of peace in these moments. Enjoy this peace. Enjoy the stillness, as if you press the pause button of a video and everything has come to a standstill. There is no noise, there's no disturbance. It's just you with your eyes closed, sitting down in this beautiful light. And your eyes are fixed, eyeballs are not moving. There's a pause button pressed, and you're like a statue sitting down. Enjoy the peace and stillness and the serenity for the next few moments, for the next few minutes. Keep both your hands on your heart. Both your hands on your heart. Be aware. Be aware of the stillness and this beautiful, peaceful energy. Be aware and in gratitude for these beautiful moments. Deep gratitude to all your teachers and masters, deep gratitude to these blessed moments. May you remain in this awareness. May you remain in this light forever. May you remain connected to this deep level of awareness, all your moments, and in all your transactions. Rubbing your palms together, wipe your face, feel your body, and then open your eyes and come back on the screen with me. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you all of you for being here. I see a lot of new people are there. That's really beautiful. Any question? Does anyone have any question? I can attend to the question now. Otherwise, then we'll stop the meeting. It was an extra class today. Small me playing with Krishna in my heart and being blessed by Ma Durga. How beautiful, Abhishek. That's lovely. You know, this vision of being in the chamber of your heart, Hriday is here. Hriday is not your physical heart which is beating. Hriday is that small thumb-sized space which is, you know, deep inside the cavity of your ribs, where the xiphoid bone is, just the backside of it, in the cavity of your ribs. And in this Hriday, there is a concentric point of consciousness, Brahman. Brahman is there all over your body. Every cell of your body is nurtured by consciousness. It's there everywhere. It does not have a shape and it is not limiting to a particular size. But there is a constant operating point of Brahman inside your heart, you know, and this point is where if you meditate, then you become the Brahman. You're sitting there as Aham Brahmasmi. You're taking your awareness deep into the chamber of your heart and sitting there and just being there, just being in that light. It's a very beautiful space to be. It's a very beautiful space for your awareness to travel and be, you know, and you can do this kind of meditation every day and sit for a longer time. It's online so we can't do this for more than 5 minutes. But if you enter once and you can just sit down with this vision for 20 minutes, half an hour, it's a very beautiful meditation. Yeah. So if there is no question, then we will meet. Thank you for such a beautiful meditation. Yes, Akash.
Ma, I
Absolutely.
want to ask you something.
Yes, Shaktika.
Generally, every time when you guide us for this meditation, every time I see myself sitting in that circle filled with light and all. But today, something little different happened with me, and I saw myself. I'm sitting there like a Shiva, the posture, what you say, and I was focusing on that light, and then stopped moving my eyes. The moment I became still, I saw you sitting outside that lighted. Helipad place which is there. I just saw you sitting in front of that. I just wanted to know ki, when your mind is so calm, you're absolutely just focusing in one thing, then seeing you, is it my, I was not calm complete, I was thinking about you, that's why I saw it, or it
Yeah,
is the energy presence, what it is like
yeah.
lot of time,
Shaktika,
seeing
Shaktika, the experience that you get in your meditation and the process of meditation should never be analyzed. They are so beautiful, they should just be cherished. Whatever you see Shiva, you see Krishna, you see whatever, they're all projections of the mind. You know, the mind, we are all in a condition. You studied Vedant with me, Advait Vedant we have done for one full month. You understand there is nothing in this world other than Paramatma. There is nothing in this world other than consciousness, and everything is a projection. Everything is a dream. Everything is a drama. है ना, तो हम अपने माइंड से जो भी खेल खेलते हैं मेडिटेशन में भी खेल ही खेलते हैं, है ना, तो वो भी बहुत सुंदर है. एवरीथिंग इज ब्यूटीफुल एक्सेप्ट एवरीथिंग, एनालाइज नथिंग, दैट्स इट. No analysis required. Where is it coming from? Was it really there, or was I dreaming? You were dreaming in a dream. Your life is a dream. You're dreaming in the dream. Should we give any importance to it? No importance. Cherish it. Enjoy it. You saw me? Wonderful. I saw two Ma's, one on the screen and one inside me. Beautiful. Right.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna, Ma.
Jai Shri Krishna, Sundaram ji.
Thank you for opening the gates of Vedanta, understanding
Yes.
Vedanta for all of us.
Yes.
Which many thought is only meant for rishis and munis.
Yes. Thank you, Sundaram ji. Thank you for being here. He's one of my very oldest students, and he's much older to me, but I find him very smaller age to me. और मैं हमेशा बेटा बन के बात करती हूँ. He's one of my very dear students.
I'm blessed, Ma. I'm blessed. I profusely thank you for including me in this.
Yes. So Pallavi, good to see you. I'm happy you were here. This meeting would happen again next Sunday, Pallavi, because we have free classes now. We finished with the Deepalankar course, and we have 2 Sundays which are vacant. So these classes will be there next Sunday also. I will take up another topic next Sunday. And after that, which is 14th of July, we are starting a course called Para Apara Jyotish Vidya. Those classes are not open for everyone, only those who enroll. So I will send you details for this course. If you want, you enroll for this course. Okay?
Okay, Ma. Yeah. Thank you, because this is, thank you for adding me to the group. It has given me this opportunity to
Yes.
feel more in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I take leave now. I'll see you next Sunday, all of you. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.